Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rogue Wave podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it. Presented by Rogue Matter, we talk comics, movies, TV, and pop culture with the rogues who create it every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on Facebook.com/Rogue Matter podcast. Download it immediately following this live stream on all major podcasting apps, or go to roguewavepodcast.com to subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Tonight, Mandalorian Season 2 special look trailer, Truth or Trash. The cast of the new horror movie 645 will be joining us, and She-Hulk, Spider-Man 3 casting news, and Willow and Rogue stuff. We've got a jam-packed show. I am your host, Michael Dolce, as always joined by my cohort in crime, Mr. Hassan Godwin. How you doing, sir? That's a spirited that was, that was
it's another fun-filled, action-packed, exciting Wednesday.
I agree with you. I agree. I think there's a lot to love about, at least on the East Coast. There is 70-degree weather in October. I'm very happy with that. And it's
I hate the heat, so no, that's
it's not
good.
Heat though. This is not heat. It's a cool 70 degrees.
It's not a cool 70 degrees.
Like in the shade. Like if you're in the shade, you're good. Like in the summertime.
No, Michael. No, Michael. Do not agree with you.
For God's sake. All right. Well. I guess we start the show off on a usual...
I don't like Indian summers. It needs to be cold, because you know what's going to happen. We're going to get snapped. Yeah. And that's going to be abrupt, and that's when everybody starts to get sick. You know, that's when you catch your colds.
Though. Apparently the squirrels, they are hungry, and that
don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about with squirrels?
Could mean a very harsh winter coming.
What are you talking about with the squirrels?
Winter's coming. All the squirrels, they're like really hungry. They're eating everything. And my wife actually looked online, and this is in my neighborhood and where we are. That signifies that they sense a harsh winter coming, and they're trying to fatten themselves up. Or they're just very greedy, or we just got to stop feeding them so much. You
shouldn't feed your squirrels.
They're very cute. They're very cute.
They're rats. The only reason you don't hate them is because they have bushy tails. They're basically rats.
Yeah, but they're very cute. They're very cute. I like them. And my
what did I just say?
Kids call them Mr. Squirrel. Look, it's Mr. Squirrel. It's Mr. Squirrel.
Most of them are women. Most of the gatherers are the female ones. But okay.
Oh, well, this is gender neutral in our household. All right, we are going to kick off with Rogue Rage, all the rage in the pop culture world. This is brought to you by Rogue Matter. Rogue Matter is a new digital content platform providing programming and entertainment that shatters boundaries and colors outside the lines. Join the movement. Go rogue, roguematter.com. Tatiana Maslany says she hasn't been cast in She-Hulk. This kind of broke a couple days ago. Basically, while Marvel and Orphan Black fans were ecstatic to learn that she was set to bring Jennifer Walters to life in She-Hulk, including being welcomed to the family by Mark Ruffalo and a few others on Twitter. It turns out the star says that this casting news isn't a real thing, and she won't be playing the comic book hero. And it was actually reported by Deadline, so it wasn't reported by somebody who some blogger or Reddit article. And meanwhile, also, at the same time, Sony addresses the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield rumors that we talked about last week. We called them rumors because we are a reputable source, and they've denied that this casting is also true. What do you make of this? Is this like a miscommunication, or is there another reason why they won't confirm these rumors? Start with She-Hulk, because I think She-Hulk and Sony are two different animals, right?
Yeah. I think if the original rumor was true, then the deal fell through. They couldn't agree on money or whatever. So Tatiana was like, ta-ta.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, it could be one of those things where they wanted to keep her appearance as a surprise for some upcoming movie. And so now they're throwing shade on it, just like they did with Spider-Man and Sony. the first time for Civil War, where Spider-Man was going to be in Civil War, and then no, he's not going to be in Civil War, and they digitally removed him from all the scenes for the trailers.
Right.
And then as soon as it was publicly announced that Sony and Marvel had made a deal,
right,
because their Amazing Spider-Man franchise fell to pieces. Then suddenly, all of a sudden, Spider-Man was in those trailers, and for a fact that they couldn't have, they knew about this months and months and months in advance.
This is a little different. I think I lean toward the first thing you said, though, because quite frankly, I mean, we know a She-Hulk series is coming. We know that, these kind of casting rumors happen. It doesn't mean she can't be cast at some point. But I kind of get it. It's a little different. The Sony situation, it's going to happen. I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire. The whole thing is called multiverse. I mean, the only thing that might change is the level of involvement Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield have in this new film, right? I mean, maybe their level of involvement is literally just going to be a cameo, kind of like what we predicted sure to go wrong last week, versus maybe having a more central role in the story, a la the Into the Spider-Verse movie. The Tatiana Maslany stuff, though, when the actress comes out and kind of says, like, sorry, it's not real, I have a hard time thinking that it's some super conspiracy to then surprise us about a TV show we know is coming. I could be wrong, but I kind of feel like, they were in talks. It fell through at the 18th hour, that kind of thing. Or, which again can be revived. She could come out and say, yeah, at the time it wasn't confirmed. We were still negotiating. Kind of have a feeling it's on the way out. So we'll see, though. I mean, we'll see. It's interesting also I don't want to say the vitriol for the casting news for her, because no one had vitriol, but there was a lot of like her, kind of thinking just in terms of like, what She-Hulk looks like versus, her as kind of like a petite actress. I don't think that had any influence. I would hope that didn't have any influence on her, kind of reneging or kind of backing out at the last minute, right? Like, but we've seen this before, right? Social media can kind of, have this impact on actors and actresses, but let's hope not, right?
Yeah, I hope not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't even know that there was any issue with it.
There's the usual like Twitter fodder because Twitter's a cesspool.
Well, nobody should be on Twitter.
I agree.
So,
you know what they should do with Twitter, though, actually? Twitter should literally, like, none of us should be allowed to be on Twitter. Like, you literally should get a press, but you need to apply for a press pass to be on Twitter. Twitter should literally just be an outlet for media companies.
Twitter's a microcosmic allegory for the propensity in our society for immediate gratification and addiction.
Yes,
it's literally all those things, and we rightfully pay for it.
Yes.
By having simple, easy, quick transactions, social transactions, where you just get to say something and then run away from it.
Yeah.
And then try to erase it, and it just doesn't go away.
Right.
That's perfect. It's the perfect karmic revenge towards a society that indulges in this. I don't even know what you would call it.
Yeah.
This flighty, whimsy, checked out society. Like, everybody's so checked out that
Twitter's just about
think
owning
that Twitter
someone.
is actually social interaction. And
no,
it's
right.
not.
Could you imagine? Like, I would love to do. I have many genius ideas, and I would love to do a series of sketches of like what if real life actually transpired like it transpires on like things like Twitter, like where people just be owning each other like constantly. Like, you just be walking up to somebody like, that's why I got this opinion. Boom, and they would just like walk up to each other and shout something that is, and literally, I feel like everyone is shouting on Twitter, even if they're not using caps. Like, they're, or they're being like sly and sophisticated.
Often I see like celebrities getting roasted, right? So and so got hosed, and so got roasted, and I'm like, that's because they weighed in.
Yeah.
Nobody needed to know what you're, like someone would, some celebrity post a picture of themselves with a dead elephant or something like that, right?
Right.
And then, the Twitterverse destroys them for, killing an endangered species. Well, you're a scumbag for killing an elephant. That's my opinion. But secondly, you're an idiot for showing it off. Like, what did you wanted a reaction? There's your reaction.
Yeah.
That's just the attention you ordered.
Just to kind of illustrate that point, like last night on Twitter, the big thing was like Chris Pratt is getting yelled at because he belongs to a church. And I think he may or may not vote Republican. So he was obviously getting, lambasted on Twitter because Twitter tends to lean left, at least in terms of that. And then people.
No, it doesn't.
Well, I guess it depends. Yeah,
lefties think it's right. Righties think it's left.
You're right. So he got lambasted by left Twitter. Okay,
gotcha.
That's what I meant to say, right? And then was it Robert Downey Jr. and Mark Ruffalo kind of like came to his defense and they're like, this guy's like, he treats everyone so nicely. He's a really kind person. He's a really good person. Blah blah blah. And then they got lambasted for supporting him because then they didn't support Brie Larson when she was getting like yelled at on Twitter. And it's like this is
what happens when you weigh in.
This is just the constant.
Don't put a quarter. Do not put a quarter in the machine. It's your fault.
Yeah.
You wanted to play the game. Don't put a quarter in the machine. Look, don't hit send. Right?
Exactly.
That's the one absolute thing I've learned. Like I go through social media now. Just completely like, I don't need to talk about that. Yeah. I don't need to talk about that. I don't need to comment here. I don't need to leave a thought there.
Nope.
And now I like the like button. That is the equivalent of the rehab aspect of our society, of our addictive society, where you could just like, I remember what it was like to drink, but I'm not drinking.
You're not.
I remember what it was like to,
Just again, you can't even like something. You can't. Like, don't even like something because then they're going to be like, well, he liked it, so now he supports. I mean, he supports genocide because he liked a tweet from a guy who was connected to a girl who is married to the guy.
Well, no, I mean, you got to be discerning in what you like, but at least you can. You shouldn't be liking someone for genocide. Let's just
no.
Let's just make that clear.
The way the trail works is like you could like something from a guy who was friends with who's like belongs to the same organization as a girl who likes this, who was married to this other guy who's secretly like conspiracy thought.
I understand that. But I mean, any idiot who can't talk themselves out of that wet paper bag should not be commenting on social media in the first place. So
let's talk about something good. And this was announced last night. Willow sequel series officially a go at Disney Plus.
What makes you think that's something good?
I don't know. People are happy about it. It makes people happy. There's no one going on. There's no one going on.
What do you think about it? I don't want to hear about people. Nobody watches this show to hear
social media reaction to this was.
Then what did we just say? What was the conversation we just had about the uselessness of social media in and of itself?
It's useful. I'm just merely saying it seems like this news got people excited and they were very happy about it. John,
what do you think about it?
Who is? Hang on, let me at least let everyone know what it means. The series is it's going to be a sequel series of the original Ron Howard directed pick. It's from Lucasfilm. Howard is returning to the project as executive producer alongside original star Warwick Davis, who will once again play the titular hero Willow Ufgood. The series has also tapped Crazy Rich Asians and In the Heights director John M. Chu to helm the pilot and executive produce. Jonathan Kasdan, the writer of Solo, and Wendy Miracle will serve as showrunners. So it's got a really good, solid backing of professionals behind it.
The guys who wrote Solo.
Which I agree with you, actually. In
Warwick
hindsight,
Davis, who's basically been the leprechaun for like this. All right, if you say so.
There's nothing about the sequels.
Where's Val
outside
Kilmer?
Of The Force Awakens that I actually want to go back and rewatch. But Solo, I love. Like I could go rewatch Solo and I just have a good time watching it. Solo actually feels more like The Mandalorian than any of the other sequel films. But I digress. No, but this is again. People were kind of excited about it. People were happy about it. That was the general consensus. My feeling. I remember watching Willow. I remember enjoying Willow. couldn't tell you anything about Willow. Like I feel like I was just young enough that I don't remember it, and I saw it once. So I have
So then why do you think it's good news?
I don't. I said the general consensus is that people were excited about it. I'm saying I'm kind of like, well, this is good news that people are excited about something. People are excited and happy. Like there was not anybody coming out and saying, Willow Oofgood needs to be canceled.
Off good.
What's that?
Good.
You'll do
off it? Good.
Off good? Okay.
Will,
but I like saying oof. Come on.
Yeah, but you sound like an idiot when you say his name wrong.
I mean, when's that stopped me before?
I would work on it if I were you.
It's creatively exciting to not only revisit the world and characters first conceived by George Lucas, Bob Dolman, and myself, but to see it take flight in such fresh, fun, and cinematic ways through the imagination of John Kasdan and Team Willow, added Ron Howard. This isn't a nostalgic throwback. It's a creative lean forward, and it's a blast to be part of it all.
Ron Howard's in because George Lucas is not in anymore or on the periphery.
You think so?
Because it's very, very famous that he did not enjoy his experience directing the first Willow with George Lucas or with Lucasfilm.
Okay.
Like he didn't not enjoy it, but he said it. He could have had a better experience. It wasn't it wasn't a happy experience for him.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he's involved because George Lucas is completely on the outside looking in.
Well, we saw what happened the last time a Lucas creation, kind of was left in the other hands. But Ron Howard's actually pretty solid. And again, going back to Solo,
well, he did Solo. He did the only Star Wars movie that actually didn't make money. So that's a distinction. That's
like one of those you don't want those kind of awards.
And again, yes, you don't want those kind of awards. Again, I agree with you. I liked Solo. I think of all the new Disney movies, that's the one I've watched most.
Yeah.
And I think I really like Rogue One and I really like Solo. It's weird that I like the anthology movies. I did not like.
I don't think it's very weird. I don't think it's very weird because they were well done.
Well, without getting in too deeply into that rabbit hole of whether or not those movies are trash or not. Like I am a prequel fan. Therefore, my philosophy, my mantra is that I'm not going to shit on people who like the sequels. That's because I'm not gonna poop on people that like the sequels. However, but also I don't need to weigh in on how much I dislike them anymore.
We've done it. I agree.
It's a done deal. But of all those movies, I've watched Solo a ton of times. You know, just because the look and feel of the film is great. Ron Howard is an expert director, and it's on display. As much of that movie that he redirected, it's on display. His prowess and his ability to tell a story with imagery and pictures. There's more information in that story, than is in the full 2.5 hours of Rise of Skywalker. There's more information about who Han Solo is, what his desires are, what he needs to do, what his main. What the main narrative MacGuffin of the entire story is in the first 20 minutes of the film than there is in 3 solid movies of the sequels. So definitely I enjoy it, but it did not make a lot of money. It did kind of cripple and COVID. It was the first blow. COVID is the second blow to whatever their movie plans are, their exploits are.
Oh yeah.
The Game of Thrones guys falling kind of off the out of favor with fandom. So it's taken a number of hits, but Solo was the first hit that it really took.
We'll dive into Star Wars Land next segment when we do the Mandalorian special look review. But for right now, the Willow announcement got me thinking, and I went digging on the internet and I found this really interesting article from Esquire.com. The 80s movies. Now, at the time, so this is interesting, right? It's a 2015 article. So the article title was "These 80s Movies That Need to Be Rebooted," right? Now I'm gonna tweak that a little bit because now we live in 2020 in the age of streaming. These 80s movies that need to be a streaming series, rebooted as a streaming series, and I pulled the ones that are mostly related to comic book and sci-fi, which is kind of the wheelhouse that we are in. And this is from the list: The Abyss, 1989, James Cameron. will spend the next half decade of his life shooting Avatar sequels, meaning he'll never return to the depths of the abyss, but that shouldn't stop one of its successors. Alien Nation was a movie in 1988, and then it was turned into a middling 90s television show. But they recommended
there's nothing middling about a critically acclaimed show, but okay.
Well, ratings wise was not.
Yes,
just like we are a critically acclaimed podcast, but we're a middling podcast, so it's different. Flash Gordon, they did the movie in 1980, and they've done a TV series before, but haven't returned. Like, why not? Guardians of the Galaxy was a hit.
It made a TV show for Flash Gordon.
A streaming show, though. Streaming. Not a traditional TV series. I know Flash Gordon was a TV series like way back. I get it. Like, I get it. But streaming.
What should the streaming show series of Flash Gordon be about then?
It should be about Flash Gordon.
All right. I mean, should it be about a sequel to the movie, or should it be about the traditional retelling of the story of Flash Gordon, or should it be a rehash of the serials? I mean, elaborate on.
To be fair, I was never a fan of Flash Gordon, so I couldn't tell you. These are just ideas that popped up in the article, and I thought that's related to what we do. Howard the Duck, which is I don't want to say an underrated movie because I think it's like a cult hit, right? Like it's a cult movie now at this point. I loved Howard the Duck when I was a kid. I don't know. I had no problems with Howard the Duck. Were you a Howard the Duck fan?
No.
It's
a George Lucas movie, though.
I know. That's why I'm shocked. Generally, you bow at the altar of Lucas.
No, I do not bow at the altar of Lucas. Thank you. Whatever. It had its place.
Yeah.
In the pantheon of stuff that I used to like, but then I grew up and I watched it again, and I was like, "Really, isn't that
That's
good?"
a good point. Actually, I have not rewatched it since then. So you're right. Maybe if I don't want to rewatch it. Maybe I don't. I don't know. Now you got me thinking.
You should be always thinking, though. It shouldn't take me to get you thinking. You should
about Howard the Duck.
You should be thinking about everything. You're asking questions. You should be thinking about. You're not thinking about the questions you're asking me right now. You're just asking
thinking about whether or not I should rewatch Howard the Duck or not.
That should rewatch The Abyss. See if there's a story there.
Yeah. No, I
don't think there is.
If you in the abyss at that point,
if you think it needs to be a TV show, I don't think so, my friend.
All right, last three, and then I'm going to tell you the one movie that wasn't on this list that needs to be remade immediately into a streaming series or reboot. I don't care how they do it. Krull from 1983.
Yeah.
I never seen it, so I couldn't tell you. Is that good? It says a movie that prioritizes imagery, cyclopses, and laser weapons over coherency.
It's not a very good endorsement, then.
Yeah.
Look, I love Krull. I think it's a great adventure. I don't think it needs a sequel. I don't think we need to. Look, they already tried that with Dark Crystal.
That's right.
And obviously that didn't work too well.
Not so good. And I was going to say for the
people trying to build their own mythology, and
right. Flash Gordon had Lost in Space, and that did not do well either. So.
Well, Lost in Space at least gets 3 seasons.
Yeah. It's not a Boys Like or Stranger Things like hit. The Last Starfighter. Come on. We've got 9 Star Wars, but we've never seen a Starfighter sequel. That one I remember fondly as a kid. I would love to see a Last Starfighter streaming series. I think that might be like if I had
as long as it's a sequel. If they remake it, no. But if it's a sequel, then yes. I'm not interested in seeing it a
continuation. That continuation would make a lot of sense. I think out of everything I've just said, this tops my list until I get to not the next one, but the one after for ones that I want to see. Starman, 1984. Was that that wasn't based off the DC comic though, right?
No,
I didn't think so.
John Carpenter movie.
Yeah.
With Jeff Bridges comes to the planet, and then he leaves because his time here wasn't a pleasant one. So he bails
and memorable.
But there was a TV show of a follow up of the girl. She had a baby, and he comes back to be with his son, and I don't know. I never watched it.
Let me ask you a question. Actually, I already know the answer to this because I know you have not. You couldn't seem to remember the next movie that I'm going to tell you. But have you seen like every '80s movie?
No.
Like, is there a movie in the '80s that you haven't seen?
No, there's plenty of movies I haven't seen, which I discover every night on the other podcasts that I do. There's plenty of stuff that I haven't seen. But, we are talking about this. I do feel it is important for us to know what we're talking about when we're talking about this stuff,
look,
right?
I mean, like Krull, I'm like, I don't even know what the hell that is. The Abyss, I'm like, yeah, that.
But that's you, though. You should watch this stuff. If you want to be in the business of talking about all this stuff, you should partake in it from now. And all right,
I fake it pretty well.
No, you don't.
All right, this is the one that I think this tops my list. The next one I'm going to say. So, Last Starfighter is runner-up. Howard the Duck comes in third on my list for things I would like to see. Although they're going to do something with Howard the Duck anyway. But I think a Disney Plus series for Howard Duck just makes total sense, right? I mean, it'd be stupid not to. The Explorers from 1985. Ethan Hawke, River Phoenix. Now, you have actually not seen this movie.
Yeah, which kind of negates you asking me that.
I know. Well, I knew the answer to it even when I asked you, but it seemed like you had seen everything until in our pre-production meeting, you said you'd never seen this. It is literally the ultimate 10-year-old boy wish fulfillment movie. These three kids, they rummage around in a junkyard. One of them is super smart. I think it's either Ethan Hawke or River Phoenix. I can't remember which, because I mean they're little kids, so I didn't really even associate them with actual actors until much later. And they build a spaceship because they get a transmission from somewhere in space, and they build a spaceship and they literally fly off and meet these alien creatures who turn out to be cute and cuddly alien creatures. It's like they end up meeting another like alien child. But it is one of those things, like if I will show this to my son. I could show this to my son now, and he would want to literally go into the backyard and pull together as much junk as he can to build his own spaceship. Like, it was that kind of like, I was telling you in the pre-production meeting, just even mentioning the Explorers like made my cheekbones kind of rise, because I was like, ah. So that's my number one. I am going to give you a homework assignment. Actually, I don't even know if I want to. I don't even know if I want to. I've now hyped this movie up enough that I feel like it cannot possibly meet your expectations, especially because you are not a 10-year-old boy. I've observed. I'm a very observant fellow.
You figured that out, yeah, and, all by yourself. You didn't even ask me.
The facial hair alone kind of gives it away.
I could be very
plus,
hormonally.
I've known you for more than 10 years, so I know you've been alive for more than 10 years.
Yeah, that'd be a neat trick if I was younger than the time that you've known me.
I don't want to watch. I'm gonna say we should retro review The Explorers next week.
Fine. All right.
And
you gotta watch Krull.
Hang on. Oof. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, all right. Let's say we won't make any promises as to what we're going to do next week, only because we have not. No, we have not identified where we can watch these movies. Right? Like, I don't want to watch a movie I got to pay $5 to see. I just want to see it on a streaming service. So we're gonna look this up, and if it's available,
we'll do that during the break. Do that during the break.
When we come back, well, first of all, let us know your 80s movies you'd like to see turned into a streaming series. My number one is The Explorers. My number two is Last Starfighter. My number three is Howard the Duck. Which one is yours now, Hassan? Before we go to break.
No, my number one was Last Starfighter. I didn't care for any of the others to be rebooted.
Okay, so it's Last Starfighter or bust.
Mm-hmm.
Like to see that. All right, you tell us what you think, and when we come back, we're gonna do a trailer, truth or trash, Mandalorian season 2 special look that debuted on Monday Night Football just this past week.
Welcome to Button Stash, the show about the best mustaches in gaming.
Casey, it's Button Smash. It's the new gaming podcast from the Rogue Matter Network. I don't know where you got mustaches from.
Well, I'm not shaving. But we will talk about gaming news, reviews, inside scoops, and retrospectives.
Join us live on twitch.tv/WeAreRogueMatter on Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, or download our episodes wherever you listen to your podcast.
But please, Casey, shave.
Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast presented by Rogue Matter. Talk comics, movies, TV, and pop culture and the rogues who create it every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on Facebook.com/Rogue Matter podcast. Join the movement. Go Rogue, RogueMatter.com. All right. Monday Night Football. They gave us a little extra because the game itself was horrible. I know you don't care. But they gave us a little sneak preview of The Mandalorian. They called it a special look. They didn't actually call it a trailer, but we're going to do trailer truth or trash anyway because it essentially was a trailer. And they gave us, a couple things. Mandalorian was obviously the breakout hit for Disney Plus last year, and it's gearing up to return October 30th. They've been trying to kind of amp up the promos. New posters kind of came out. Containing some Star Wars Easter eggs, some casting news that kind of came out. But this was an actual, this was another special preview. It was brief. It was only a minute long. And, and a lot of the, people writing it kind of, it didn't really give us much more than what we kind of already knew about the season, right? Din Djarin is tasked with reuniting Baby Yoda. He'll be on a mission to find the Jedi. They have a tumultuous history with the Mandalorians. Din recruits, Grief Karga and Cara Dune. We got some stormtroopers in there. I know this isn't the case, but did it to you? Because it did to me. The answer is to me, yes. Did it look like the Millennium Falcon was in there for 2 seconds as the ship, just for a split second with the way the ship was angled? I was like, oh. I actually kind of got excited for a second.
I didn't see that. I didn't see it.
When he
I didn't notice I noticed the Razor Crest through the whole thing, but I didn't notice. You're talking about for a moment the Razor Crest looked like the Millennium Falcon.
Just for a split second when they cut to it, I saw the way the angle of the ship that and then the very next scene they have him kind of working on the ship or whatever. And I was like, I wasn't just for a split second. I was like. And then
I do have to say honestly that the trailer in and of itself wasn't much. It's fine. It didn't need to be more than that, in my opinion. I know that's going to be part of the question that we're going to ask. Yeah. And I have more to say on it, so it's not like I gave away the prize there. But what amazes me about it, I don't even know how I can put this into. First of all, there's two things. I always know that something is great, that when I start to enjoy something, when I start to recognize music cues. Right? When I'm watching something that I have seen before, I realize that I have, because sometimes I'm not aware that I'm into something. I'm just watching it, I'm just part of it, I'm just going through the motions. I'm never aware that I'm into something until I know a music cue, from whatever it is, TV series or movie. And so the trailer, the music for this teaser was really great because it was a kind of a souped up version of his theme, and I was like, and I just remember thinking while watching, it's this music is awesome, and it's making all this imagery really work. The other thing I'll have to say about The Mandalorian as to why it works, because there's things about it I don't like, and I've been vocal about it, and it doesn't mean anything. It's just sometimes there's things you like, and then sometimes there's things you don't like. All right, the hell with Twitter. I would never go there. It's like Twitter's on fire. You're an idiot for going inside. But I am, and there have been there's a documentary about it. I know we talked about it. We reviewed it for the most part. The documentary about the making of the first season, and I am just beyond impressed with the technologies that they're developing for making the visual effects of this show on par with the movies. Or better than the movies in some respect. There's absolutely no compromise in some of the stuff.
didn't it feel like you were watching a movie trailer? You know, and it's not. It's going to be on my. I mean, I have a big screen at home, but like, it's going to be on your TV.
Yeah.
And it's like that blows my mind. And I agree with you also with the music, but I'll throw in also the sound effects, not just the music. You know, like the you know, of like of the Empire ships. You know, like the howl or the scream of it. You know, the screech of it. You know, there's just a certain, you know, Mandalorian does a nice job of giving us what the new sequels didn't do, which was giving us something new while paying homage to the old. And that's that's
what Solo did, and that's what the Rogue One managed to do.
Yeah,
that the show didn't do. I mean,
but I'll even say that the Mandalorian does it even better because this is I guess it's sorry, I take that back because this isn't the future. This does take place, you know, in between.
It is a time we haven't seen, though. It's right after Return of the Jedi. So I mean, it's the Empire is on its last legs. We haven't. There's not a lot of exploration into this era.
Yeah.
A lot of the video games cover this era, which is pretty awesome. But we haven't gotten a lot of canon storylines that take place during this era.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's exciting. The other stuff that's exciting about, like, you know, maybe there's going to be an Ahsoka appearance or something like that. Supposedly, yes, there is, but you know, we haven't seen her yet.
Right.
Which I'm glad, because the internet would be, you know, there'd be nothing but people hating it, you know, hating the appearance. I mean, that's all that happens. If I was doing this, if I had done a show, if I was like, say, Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
It's a subsidiary of Disney, who is basically has the lion's share of everything in Hollywood right now. So they could fart and film it and sell it to us, right? So honestly, if I were they and I made something that the first season was critically acclaimed or the first movie was well regarded, I would show as little as humanly possible for the follow up. I would inundate the airwaves with those little bits, you know. I would keep replaying the teaser over and over and over again until people were like nauseated by it. Yeah. Like just show us the show. But I wouldn't give anybody, because all it is now, I understand that speculation is a good form of marketing, you know, that they want to inspire fan speculation and people starting groups and having discussions about it. But basically, all it is it's almost like, in my opinion, and this is only my opinion, it's almost like you're ceding ownership to these other people in order for the exchange of marketing.
Right.
And these people, once you don't do it the way they speculated you should have done it, then suddenly you have failed. And it's a good way of you know, it's another microcosmic allegory of what we were talking about before with Twitter. It's like you are, you know, as a capitalist swine, right? You are seeding the you know, you are milking the audience for their reaction so that you can make money, but in this revelatory reverie for your product, also sows the seeds of your own destruction. Because if you do not live up to their impossible to live up to expectations, because you've left it to them, you're gonna fail. Back in the day, look, we were no less opinionated when we were younger, but back in the day, we kind of accepted, like, we don't know what this show is going to be about. We don't know what this movie is going to be about. We're going to wait, we're going to watch it, and then we're going to have a reaction to it. That's what it used to be. Right. But now it's like, now you got people dissecting trailers for Easter eggs and stuff. So, I mean, like, you would call it regressive marketing. But I would give you as little as possible as we go in, just because you want your product to have staying power.
Yeah.
You know, you cannot afford to undermarket something and to under advertise, but you got to be really sparing at what you show, especially if your shit's only if your shit's only 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's the thing too, right? Like, it's and it's a great segue, actually, that leads into the question, right? So the trailer truth or trash question was, should they have shown more, right? Should they have given us more? And I think I will trash the question, not the trailer, and say I'm happy to not get more. I'm happy that they didn't give us, more than what we actually needed. Like, we definitely, look, what do we need to get excited about a show we're already excited for? Yes, it would be nice to have these little cameos. I know Boba Fett's supposed to be in it too. I mean, they could give us a cameo there. But none of that is going to not make me watch this TV series. None of it is going to make me not, tune in or be excited or be just as excited as I was for the first season or throughout the first season. So to me, good. Don't show us anything, because by not showing us anything, we got Baby Yoda. We got like the biggest Christmas gift on the planet last year by them being secretive, and I'm a big fan of that. I'd prefer that.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, when Baby Yoda came on the scene, we had nothing to do but just to react to it, right?
Yeah.
It's here. It actually exists. Now we want to know more. If they had teased us Baby Yoda, or somewhere along the line, there was an article that said there was going to be a Baby Yoda,
right?
Then we would have gone nuts talking about, well, where could he have come from? Is he force sensitive? Is he a reincarnation of Yoda and whatever? And we would have ruined it for ourselves before we actually got to see it. When it's a surprise and the little baby sticks his head up out of the carriage, and now all we can do, all we have left is to react to it.
Yep.
And that's how it should be.
Yes.
I don't believe in this, and I'm antiquated in this. I don't think I'm right. I don't think I'm smarter than everybody else. I just don't believe in this speculating stuff, because it's nothing but nauseating. It really is. It's obnoxious as far as.
Well, let me ask you a question. It's a final question, right? I know you hate judging like the masses, right? But like, what do you think the general perception on all this is? I don't think I don't know if there's a binary choice out there of people that are like, my tribe is, I need to know everything about it, and you're like, how could you possibly not want to know, versus like people who are like, no, don't tell me anything, like the spoiler free people. I think it's one of those things where I think for people that really enjoy that, I guess it is just, it's just not for me kind of attitude, but it's
fine for them if they like it. But the problem is it becomes obnoxious to the point where now you have to, if you surf the web, if you go anywhere other than your own corner, you are going to be inundated with it. And that's what I consider to be kind of obnoxious. Like, what do you say? Like I remember the Snoke phenomenon. Who is Snoke? And then what happens? The next movie, they just cut him in half, and you get no information. And then the third movie, he's in a jar.
Yeah.
So it's like, the hell with your theories.
Yeah.
Your theories, look, where did that get you? All it gets you is disappointed.
It's really funny you bring up Snoke. I was surfing the web, and it's, could Baby Yoda be used to create Snoke? And I was like, all right.
See?
All right.
You see what I'm saying?
I love
it. And the problem is with all this stuff, I'm not a soapbox on this. The problem is everybody else is using it as content to make themselves money.
Yes.
And so all of it has been monetized, and none of it is genuine.
Our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to have this as its own separate video as well too, that you could click and like and share and make us some money. Oh, you didn't want me to reiterate your point with our own capitalism. Gotcha. When we come back, we've got the cast from the new horror movie 645. It's Groundhog's Day meets Friday the 13th, Halloween, however you want to call it. We got the cast, we got actors, we got producers, we got everybody coming up next. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it. We talk comics, movies, TV, and pop culture with the rogues who create it. And joining us right now, we have at least three fine rogues to accompany these two schlups up here. And we've got, from the new horror movie 645, we've got actors Michael Reed and Augie Duke. We've also got associate producer Jordan Elizabeth Gelber, who is a friend of the show. She's been on many, many times before. Well, I think once, but we love her. And we're so excited to have her back on. How are you guys all doing today?
Good.
You guys are excited and ready to go. I know, Jordan, you're in like Salem,
I am.
Massachusetts, right?
I'm in Salem, Massachusetts. I'm alive. I've only drank half my coffee. I'm with you. I'm definitely a rogue. I've only been once, so way to also call me out on that. You're such a good friend.
That's all right. You too. This is it's always better the second time.
It is. It's always better the second time. And this is the only way we hang out now. So
I know.
Yeah, no, I'm alive. But our lovely leads are out in LA bright and early, 9 a.m. on today, Wednesday or something?
You don't even know what day it is, right?
No, what day, what time, where are we?
Yeah, no, we suffer from the same thing. All right, Augie and Michael, do you like Michael or Mike? That's a good question for an interview. I like that.
I mean, honestly, ever since I hit my middle age almost, it's Mike. I don't care. Like, it used to be Michael. Now I'm like, hey, just call me Mike.
Interesting. I am actually the reverse because I've been going by Mike for like the longest time. But there's a Mike Dolce out there who's an MMA wrestler, and he's got a Dolce diet, and it's very exciting. So whenever I put my name out there, I put it in my full name just so people don't confuse it. And then people call me Michael, and I go, that's just weird. Like, it's just weird to hear. But all right, so we'll go Mike. We're Michael agnostic. We don't care. It's a good thing. Yeah. Talk to us about 645. The premise, I kind of summed it up in my head like Groundhog's Day meets Friday the 13th, right?
Ooh. I mean, that's the best way to explain it, I think.
I think, you tell me.
No, please. I love hearing you guys talk. You guys are the best.
Yeah.
So.
No, please, Augie, go.
Go do it.
Yeah. It's a little less horrific than Friday the 13th, I would hope.
Different.
Not as many murders. Wink, wink.
Don't give it away, Augie. Just
give away now. Groundhog's Day meets. It's very in right now to do the Groundhog's Day stuff.
Yeah.
Happy Death Day, Russian Doll. There's all these things. How do you explain it?
Quarantine 2020, everything's just all the time.
Groundhog's Day with no humor. It's very.
There's a little.
There's humor. There's some goofy moments to balance things out. But yeah, it's a repeating day of dread for the little Bobby especially, and Bobby is the only one. I mean, can we say is that
no? What?
Okay.
What? Wait. So basically,
no spoilers, please.
We're no
I'm not
spoilers.
gonna spoil anything, but
we're not funny. There's not a lot of death. We sound like a great movie. But no, I think like that's the best thing that we've heard about everything that we've been talking about, even throughout this entire quarantine experience, about how we weren't aware of how relevant our film would be in 2020. But hey, it's 2020, and there's no holding back. I think that what's unique about our film is because of the fact that it's so repetitive and this weird, like what you assume would be like a wonderful like love story. We got this great, beautiful couple, they're going away, and then, things take a turn for the worse. And we'll let you guys find out when you watch the movie.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for. Yeah, it's so weird to have worked on a film that was about a repeating scary situation, and then to live life in a repeating scary situation. I love when art imitates life. I just didn't think it would go this full throttle.
When did you guys actually finish filming?
Right before the pandemic.
Wow. Got it under the gun?
Yeah.
Slid right under that, man.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
You guys were filming. We were on set, in the end of January to like the first week in February. I was just about to go to London. It was like the one week I knew I couldn't stop by. And they were filming. And literally when I came back from London, like in the middle of February, it was like shut down. Like we could have probably done any of the things that we did, like the amount of people that we had, where we stayed, who we had involved. I mean, it was cold, but just to think about how much it would have shifted if we waited even just like a month or two to try to do it would never happen.
Where did you guys film? In LA or?
Jersey.
We filmed at Asbury Park.
Yeah.
You had to go all the way to Jersey. Oh, that is horrific.
Jersey on the water.
Sorry, New Jersey fans.
In the winter, it was really scenic. I think Maria, one of the other producers, she had like an active supply of like hand warmers that she would but yeah, we filmed this really cool place in Asbury Park, and we really put these two lovely people through some great hellish moments.
Yeah, so the log line for folks also out there is like the couple arrives for vacation in the quiet island resort called Bog Grove. To their bewilderment, the sleepy beach town is curiously deserted, and they quickly learn about its deadly history that's about to repeat itself. In the film, you guys are a couple on the rocks, right? So talk about the dynamic you guys had while filming, and talk about like the state of your characters as before you kind of get into this hellish nightmare.
As you can see, we're real life.
I assumed that, but I didn't want to make any assumptions.
We're just hanging out.
We're just we never left each other after the movie.
That's true. That's a pandemic. That could be a pandemic relationship. We don't even know. Maybe you guys just
yourself. We self
actually it very well could
couple
have been
quarantine.
Yeah, for us, that I think was easy. We've been together for 5 years, so
wow.
We could really go through all the layers of the realness of the relationship. No BS. I was almost gonna say, but then I was gonna hear ding, ding.
That's right. You know the rules. That's good.
It really played in well because we all, we go through crap, and like any couple, and especially when you're stressed, you're making a feature film in a month, and you have these really intense emotional scenes and whatnot. So, we allow each other sometimes to use each other as a punching bag, in a light way. And but it also created this cool, like, underlying energy dynamic and everything that happened in the film. Well, it's all like naturally happening. We're not forcing it like that. So that's cool.
How closely, did the dynamic in the film mirror, what you guys are in real life? Or was it completely like night and day in terms of like who you are as an actual person in a couple? What's that?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Is it similar? No. I mean, as a relationship goes,
we
have similar moments because we're humans and this is what we go through in relationships. No, I think we're actually quite different than
Bobby and Jules are definitely different characters than Michael and Augie.
Yeah.
That's almost got to be kind of fun or cathartic, right? I mean, that's kind of the joy of being an actor, right? You get to kind of put on someone else's suit for a little while, or someone else's personality. Was it kind of cool to kind of step out, even outside the couple dynamic? Is it fun to just step into someone, to be somebody else for a couple hours?
Of course. I don't know if it was fun for him to be Bobby. It was a little hellish.
Jordan, good question for you, because you can answer this. What can you give away in terms of the kind of horror that they're going to experience, or the kind of, you can tease as much as you want. I just, I know obviously we want people to watch the film and be kind of like surprised, but like what kind of challenges are they going to face from a horror movie perspective?
Oh God. Oh my God, such a on the point question without trying to give it away. It's so difficult. I think that it's just, what was that weird movie with like John Cusack when he's in a hotel room and things just randomly start showing up and freaking him out?
Room one.
I know it's like totally not exactly the same, but there's a character in that film that like reminds me of a character that we have in the film that I can't give away, so I'm just going to try really hard to skirt around the issue. What's going to happen? I think you're going to be people are going to go in thinking it's like just a suspenseful film, and what they're going to be surprised to find out that it actually has a more cynical twist in it. And I think that it's there's a lot of like metaphors of relationships that represent like horror entities that come together. So I guess the best way I could simplify it, it's quarantine 2020, and all the couples that I know are living together, and they're probably imagining what's happening to their relationships in 645. It has an element of we got a little bit of blood. I could say that. We got a little bit of blood. There you
go. That's good.
There's some blood, it's perfect for Halloween time. We got some blood. I just think that like you really feel like you are living through the eyes of Michael. Like you don't necessarily feel, at least I didn't feel that way. Like I was watching everything. I feel like I was experiencing it with him and his feelings and how, and what was going on to him. And I think that people really like fall into that trap of like, what, no, what? And stuff like that. I don't know. I'm trying really hard not to give it away.
No, that's good. That's what I like to hear. I think it's funny because the horror genre right now is as much about, you know, what's happening as to how it's happening, right? Like what are the scenes that are going to kind of, you know, have audiences kind of like tweeting or talking like after the fact. For you guys, you know, you guys have been through, you guys have an impressive resume of different films. How intense is like a horror suspense film, and how much does that actually kind of affect you guys, you know, as just individuals when going through the filming, or are you able to kind of turn off when the director yells cut?
That's a good question.
I try.
Oh,
they'll just turn out the big questions. This is why we're here.
No, you're good. The hardest thing for me is comedy. So
Okay.
that's because you know what? It really is the hardest thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, people are like, comedy. Oh my God, it's so easy. I'm like,
I would agree.
no, dude, it is hard. It's all about timing, man. Horror and thriller, what do we do? Do we rub it off after? You have to. And you also have to wash your body off because there's a bunch of fake blood on you.
Figuratively and literally. Yeah.
We're going to film the splatter them with blood scene again. Take 73.
Take 73.
You know you love it.
Been there literally.
You know, I don't think we had a blood take over a dozen takes. I mean,
yeah.
It's fine.
Vincent
Augie.
Questini, special effects. Thank you, man.
It's great. Horror films are fun to do. Typical horror films are really fun to do, especially if you got a good cast and crew that you're having fun with. This particular one, 645, I'm just going to say was more difficult than normal because I was put through the ringer in terms of what they're asking me to do shot by shot here and there. Like the extremes I was, you know, because I know we explain this all the time, but there's this thing called block shooting. And, you know, I'm going through a ton of different days here with one camera angle. So they want to wrap out all the days and all this camera angles all in one go. And so I have to bounce back and be a psychopath with a schizophrenic psychopath. Within an hour, I've gone through like a dozen different emotional changes. Yeah. That's really hard. And that's Bobby, that's 645. So that was difficult, but horror films in general, they're awesome. They're fun, man. For me.
Awesome. Well, it's a great segue into the next question. So what is each of you, I want to just go through one. What is your like favorite or quintessential, doesn't even have to be favorite, the one that stuck with you the most horror movies of all time? Jordan, we'll start. Wait. She gave the. Don't ask me first.
No, I have an answer. It was more of a. I was reliving my moment. The movie that freaked me out, and also feeling the amount of suspense that I know that Michael went through filming 645, which was very much like Memento. He went through a lot, and he kicked butt. My horror film that really stuck with me, like vividly stuck with me, pains that gave me nightmares, but now I love it, is The Cell with Jennifer Lopez and Vince Vaughn and Vincent D'Onofrio. That whole, because Tarsem, the director, is so like intense with visual effects that really gave me nightmares for the longest time, and now it's probably one of my favorite movies. But the Leprechaun and Puppet Master, those fun, campy ones. I thought you were gonna say like, what's your favorite Halloween movie? And I was just gonna say Rocky Horror Picture Show.
No. We're going for the blood.
But no, Blood and Guts. The Cell really hit me where it hurts and gave me nightmares for like 2 weeks when it came out.
Augie and Michael.
The Shining.
Oh yeah. That's good. You know, psychological horrors are almost, you know, more traumatic to watch than you know. I think by like the 8th Friday the 13th, I was laughing. You know.
Exactly. Freddy in Space.
Ooh, doesn't get better than that.
All around.
Versus Freddy. Did that happen? I don't know.
That's the 10th one.
See, I know he's watched every movie. It's great.
I haven't watched every movie. But that was the 10th one. That was Jason X.
And it's 10th one. Yeah, that's the 10th one. My two kind of tie together with that in a weird way is I'm just going to say The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, and Ridley Scott's Alien. And it's funny because Carpenter did Aliens and they kind of did the same IP together. But the original The Thing had psychological and it had these incredible practical effects that were done. I forget the guy's name, but he's a god in the industry.
Rob Bottin.
Yes. That guy's work is impeccable, especially at the time. And so as a child, that really influenced me, scared the crap out of me. I remember hiding during that, like some of the scenes, like literally scared. Because not only do you have but it's the paranoia of that movie is really what sticks in, right? Who's the killer? Who's the beast? Who's the alien? Who's it? So that movie really influenced me.
Hassan, what's your go-to actually?
Just to clarify, that's the remake of The Thing from Outer Space. You said it was original. I'm just saying that so we don't get hosed in the comments. I was not. I swear to God, I wasn't.
You and your member.
Hassan is actually troll guarding you right now. See, like, that guy didn't know. That guy didn't know it was the remake.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Like 45. This guy came on. He didn't know it was.
So he was covering you. He was covering for you. So
I was protecting everyone. The Thing is pretty freaking perfect. One of my horror movies that no one considers to be a horror movie, in fact, I get laughed at when I mention it, is Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, which so is good.
Oh no, that's
because it's like
one of my.
It's mature and it doesn't fit like but it is.
There's a lot of horror aspects in that are terrifying, and it is what it is. But that's one of my favorites. And The Thing, and actually. The Mothman Prophecies, which is a really
pretty good movie,
little known movie, but it's a very good creep factor in that film.
I'm a Nightmare on Elm Street guy, and I actually like 3 almost as much as 1, and 2 is a forgettable mess. But instead of talking about other movies, real quick, guys, bring us on home. Where can we consume 645? When does it hit? And all the fun stuff that we want, so we can actually watch this one and get creeped out. Watch it with a loved one.
You can definitely tease that the trailer is currently out. It launched, I believe, about a week ago. So you can go watch that because we have more information coming soon about when the film's going to come out. But we can't really, I don't think, say that right now. Maybe we can. I don't know.
Ooh, I like it.
But definitely check out the trailer. We have some really great people in the film, including Remy Ma, Thomas Waits, Aaron Garrow. I'm probably forgetting more people because I'm an awful producer. Yeah,
this is not your Academy Award speech. We're good. You don't have to remember everybody.
Thanks. Okay. Yeah, we can find out. Like, I think we're at 645 film. I believe is our 645 movie is where it's on all social. But yeah, no, Augie and Michael can take it home.
You did so good.
Yeah.
I was hoping you would just continue.
I saw you. I'm like, she doesn't want to do it. I'm like, I'm going to make her do it. She doesn't want to do it.
It's crazy. We're not sure what's up with theatrical releases because I'm not saying this 645 is going to be this massive theatrical release.
No, but it's
But I don't know what movie's doing that right now. But maybe by the time Valentine's Day, you might be able to take a date to the theater and see 645.
Take your loved one to see these loved ones.
No, that's and that's why I asked though too, because obviously if this is a traditional release and we're not living in a pandemic, it would be we're going here. But now I was curious if it was going to be a VOD or if we are waiting for the theatrical release. It was great. To support Jordan, you guys can go to 645movie.com and it tells you all about it. It has a trailer, all that fun stuff on it. I want to thank you guys. Thank you for joining me. I'm excited. I want to see what I love the premise of the repeating day. Yeah, no, I love it. I think that's going to be great. So thank you guys for joining us. When we come back on the Rogue Wave podcast, we do our very first Rogue Report. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast. I want to thank our guests, Augie Duke, Michael Reed, and Jordan Gelber from the movie 6:45 a.m. You can check out the horror film. Go to 645movie.com and keep listening here. We'll give you the inside info on when you can expect the movie to drop. Right now, you can check out the trailer, and it looks pretty eerie. So go check it out. All right, shifting to this before we leave, we want to do this. It's called the Rogue Report. We give you the inside scoop on what's happening on RogueMatter.com. Today's spotlight is on Key to the City, a series of short stories. Every morning, Andy wakes up in the body of a different person in New York City. Doesn't know who he is or where he comes from. He only knows the city is guiding him to help others. Maybe when he helps enough people, he'll finally find a way back to himself. Go to RogueMatter.com. You can check out Key to the City. And next week, we're going to welcome the artist on Key to the City, Sebastian Sanchez. Really interesting guy, an artist. He travels the world, or he did when pre-COVID, and he just draws for a living. He has a really inspiring story. Plus, we'll break down more pop culture news and count down to The Mandalorian. See you guys next week.
Rogue Wave.